Did we, okay, we got microphone back. So, as I was saying, we got 2 players per team, 1,000 points each, and they will be randomly paired throughout the day to different teams, depending on how well they play. So, I don't know where my microphone cut off, so we got Mike and Andre on one, and then Josh and Jonathan on the other team. We're playing Mission 1 out of the ITC Champs packet. And I will get you some more information on that here shortly.
I mean, it's Andre, so I know whatever I choose, you know Sure. Go first. Okay, good. You don't want to wither 2 rounds of shooting, so it's really nice. Oh, you're really nice.
So,
one's a rampager and one has 2 autocannons.
So Josh and Jonathan are taking Chaos pretty much together. So Ultramarines and Chaos Knights on one team, and then Tau and Chaos on the other team. So it's a wonderful melee of different stuff.
No heresy here. Move along.
Yeah.
The most standard deployment. This way or that way?
Let's get a secondary.
I think I would.
Oops, sorry.
Oh, jeez.
We'll go this way.
Wait, you have 60? At least 3
What side do you want?
Red Corsairs. Okay, there we go. Double it, so. Yeah. Alright, so deployment. I would probably get line of sight velocity.
You want this side?
I don't think so.
Well, I like this side because it's convenient.
Go for it.
We're taking this side. Attacker deploys full army first. Attacker does.
And which side do you guys
Just gotta do all of the place.
Doesn't really matter too much, I guess.
So you've chose Dawn of War deployment.
Choose secondary.
All right, so they'll be playing that. And Andre has picked the side with the red shipping containers.
Primaries are all the same.
All right,
Secondaries for the entire team.
we're gonna get secondaries together here.
One for the secret.
I don't have a ton of movement.
All right, so our players are choosing their secondary objectives right now. And we're putting the nice Heroic Morale objective markers on the table. So as they get those picked, I will try to get those to you so we know what we're doing here.
This one's my warlord. I did not think this one would get that new.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Thinking brain smart.
I always go to engineers because engineers are the easy one. That I can figure out anyways. I don't have good feelings about that.
How big's your unit?
They're fine, man. I had almost mid because
They're only gangbusters wouldn't work. Are these this one unit?
that would be bad for us.
That's one unit.
Probably not gonna happen.
How many units is
Especially with Dawn of War.
Yeah. These drones, are they part of his unit? Yeah.
psychers?
I have one.
Feel about
0 for me.
I could have a night be a psyker.
Yeah,
You can
like,
cast
can't
one
you-
power of the night too if I wanted it.
Yeah. You have to like choose a specific like the I think what they call them, like type
how
of
much
night.
spells does that?
Nah, it's just
Oh. So, while our players are choosing their secondaries still, I'm going to walk over to the other table and we'll. Looks like we've got Iron Hands and Tyranids and Tau and Orcs on our other table. So is it Iron Hands and Tyranids on one team and then Tau and Orcs on the other team? Okay. So again, we got a nice, fun, strange combination of armies paired together.
Never worked together originally.
Fish heads and fungus.
So,
Give me that's going to sit behind on an objective.
so it'll be interesting to see how that works out.
Hey guys, I've laid out some stuff that is up for, you don't want to buy tickets, $1 for each ticket and stuff like that.
And we've got a raffle in store today. So they'll be selling tickets. Looks like you can win some Space Marine Chaos bikes, an Militarum Sentinel, some Vanguard vets, some Tartarus Terminators, and some Hellblasters are going to be up for raffle. So if you play in the tournaments, a lot of times we get door prizes and raffles and all kinds of fun things. So it's always a good time to come up.
They are 144, 138.
I didn't take it.
See about the word from Greg here, our TO for this event. What time did the round officially start, Greg? Do you want to just do 10 o'clock since it's almost 10? Hour. So 12:30 will be the end of this round as it starts at 10 o'clock.
We do lunch, and then we'll have another round. Then we'll take a 10-minute break between the rounds. Third round, second, third. Everybody can pull this shit off.
Yeah.
Take a breather.
Okay. So keep an eye on your clocks. This round will be over at 12:30. Like I said, the round time officially starts at 10 o'clock.
Take a friendly. Better take a starting. This is on. Will you mark it? We're gonna mark. No, that's fine. That's right because. Okay, that makes sense. Are those booted? They are. That's good. That's fine. But like no matter who we pick up this one. That's what I was asking. That's good thinking though.
So it looks like while they're still picking their secondaries here, I'll try to go through this as much as I can. I will muddle their armies up quite a bit, but the tile looks like they've got some commanders with a handful of drones, some stealth suits, and a couple of fire warriors. The Ultramarines are bringing some Primaris Intercessors, a looks like a Demolisher, and their Redemptor Dreadnought with a handful of characters. Chaos Knights has 2 big knights and a little Helverin War Dog. And then our other Chaos has a Demon Prince and a handful of Marines with some cultists. So Andre and Mikey have taken Big Game Hunter, Recon, and what is that? Behind enemy lines. Okay, they're writing in a different language, and then they've taken
Butcher's Bill.
Butcher's Bill, Recon, and Old School.
Hey, you got the last one.
The tickets are $2 each.
Okay. So now that they've got their secondaries, they've already chosen deployment, and so now we'll go ahead and get in.
I abbreviate, sorry. Hey, what's the movement of your knights? 14? 12. Alright, what do we want to call this? Rings or no? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then do recon and market that. We have.
Okay, for your deployment, I want you to tie everything. I have an app.
Okay. Is there a score sheet on the back of this right here?
Here it is.
But like behind
No, like you can put infantry here. You can put that. Is what I'm saying.
I really need to explain it to me.
You'll see. It's fine.
Okay.
Explain it to me. No, I'm good.
And then for the marking
All right. So now we've got that. Now we do deployment, right? All right.
That's all you guys.
And then we have engineers.
All right, so Chaos Knights and Ultramarines are deploying first.
One of my rivers, unless you don't want them to be, they're kind of terrible.
You get the 2 engineers.
Yeah.
Okay.
People smirks and
Super Swarm and the unit of scouts with the better bases. No, because these guys have. I'm going to do the intercessors.
Hey, what's the range of your hive guard?
Oh, there's your army. We switched places. Like, wait a second. What? Wait, what? And now we're actually on the same side. Like, first we're supposed to be on.
And spells used to deploy anywhere that's not in your deployment zone, or within, I believe, 9 or 12 inches of fire.
What's your infernal traits?
Well, the credit week was like the Avalanche, and my relic was bonus, basically a flash one, plus we had one Freemason charge, and I always
Along the edges, I can, that was the back half where I can deploy.
Who's your warlord and who's your warlord trait and your relic?
Postman,
Okay. Say no more. You can't say.
All right.
Weird boy. There's no other good warlord trait for him, so it doesn't matter.
My ruler is.
This looks like the Space Marines are deploying their characters surrounded by intercessors.
It's going to be 1 command point for 1 additional relic. He has the camo field, so he is mindful of the head all times.
Surprised me.
And my additional one is going to be a prototype weapon.
With a Demolisher and their Redemptor right next to them.
Which pretty much just adds up their strength by 1, and their minimum damage they can do with the weapons is 3. So it's either 3 or 6.
It's the Space Marine Bowl.
Alright.
Got
So
it.
that guy's gonna be my
These were kind of these impassable, right?
my warlord. He's gonna take 2 units of devastation, so 6 is their additional AP. And then his relics is he's gonna be roll a 1.
Okay.
Also on far side of the dice.
Unless you can fly.
All right, looks like our first team is deployed. So now Andre and Mikey will start deployment. So we'll start to see Chaos and Tau come onto the field.
Spent 3. Relic, forward break. I don't know what these are.
I just.
Everything's fine.
Okay. You only have 3.
What relic? Because I just have a yeah, I only have big things.
So we mentioned it earlier, but they're playing scenario 1, Seize Ground. So you are looking for a bonus point of holding, contesting 4 or more objectives at the end of their turn. And there should be 6 objectives on the table, which there are. So they're just trying to hold as many objectives as they possibly can to catch that bonus point.
Oh, I'm also going to be hiring stuff, so please keep that.
Yeah, how many of your stuff has invulns?
Yes.
All
Shield
the
drones.
Like literally all the shield drones.
I don't fight Tau that often.
The fire warriors and the stealth guys, they have involves too, or is that just basically
Because I don't know what other war
I could have given them involved, but I didn't think they did.
You can literally
Actually, do it. Your psychic power,
Oh, wow, you and my warlord go very well.
The only difference between this stuff and the others is that this guy has the best point.
So is that the one you marked?
Yeah. I think that's one fun.
Gaz is getting a mani petty before we start, so he's going to be all for it. Good job deserved.
So it looks like we got some Tau stealth suits infiltrating up into that middle rightmost L.
You want to look right and fierce before you come to the battle.
I should have brought that.
Got some commanders coming in on the second floor of a ruin.
You can put cultists. How big are your cultists? How big are your cultists? I can use this.
These guys.
I can't shoot you. Yeah, I got breachers that are small profile over there. Alright,
You know what? I'll just.
So the ball and chain format requires a little more teamwork and cooperation. So you'll notice that deployment takes a little bit longer because they discuss strategy and tactics on where they want to deploy. It's not just as simple as a regular game where you have 2,000 points of a single army that meshes well together. You have 1,000 points of 2 different armies that sometimes do not cooperate well.
Oh yeah, the game ends at 12:30. It's 10:10 currently.
We started.
Yeah, we started late, so.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
I built it, we just had to get it all painted. Now I'm gonna put that on my display.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
I'll be on my old game.
We're combining command points. How is that going to work for something like Hellheart and generate the points?
You can still only generate one.
Yeah, but then I get the opportunity from them using the strategy as well as the
No, you count as a team, so you count as one side. So if he spends a command point, that doesn't mean you get to roll.
Yeah, I mean, no, I
If
asked
it's
you
for
to
like
put
a player,
your
that
model.
only counts still for 2 players.
I'll say it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They are also, they put out of your deployment as well.
Fantastic.
If I wanted to actually one of my hero, if I'm absolutely insane. Actually, you know what? I think we're gonna do that. I'll have the guys do it together.
You're going to draw them in.
So So it looks like we've got a bunch of cultists coming into the ruin there.
Oh, I can actually use the one where I do extra damage to the word bearers. Oh wait, no, never mind.
Got Tau Breachers behind the containers. We got a group of Chaos Space Marines being guarded by drones and a commander.
Oh, well, yeah, for the well, so 3, from I think 3 cycles gets it.
Now
you guys kind of deploy.
I could put my formal right in front of them. You would die a horrible
but
death.
then if I hit those ruins over there, everything on the first floor is
It's not that hard to hit. You see how big he is?
right. Is it on the back or is it just on the
Oh, so
front?
you can
Or
deploy.
do
I'm deployed all the way to our.
You can deploy outside before the ball.
I'm gonna be back and
We're not
forth.
on the table yet.
I told my wife it's on a plane today, I'd run over once in a while. So,
I don't know how that rule works.
It is, I cannot deploy to the 20 or more than 12 inches of an enemy model.
Oh, yeah.
feel free to phone us.
Where's the enemy mark? Back here? Yeah, it's way back there.
I was wondering whether to run home, jump on the mower, mow the front yard, jump off the mower, go back.
yes.
Doing the math.
Math is out.
You could probably,
Well, I mean, what's right here?
They're only 36, unfortunately.
Then I can actually have a slang gun. Best thing I got is a terminator with a storm shield. I just usually end up using this guy and just like, yeah.
So it looks like this ruin on the right side of the table has become a very popular hangout for mostly the Tau, as they tend to pack their entire army into it. As it doesn't appear that anyone wants to be out in the open to have knights shooting at them, unless you have that fancy character shield where they cannot be targeted. Chaos does seem to be taking the field with their characters. Got a couple of demon princes out in the open, got a couple of other characters out.
Yes, we do go second. Okay, good. I am definitely within inches of
Just because here, right here, will be close to the moon.
Well, yeah.
Right here, you're not going to get shot right here.
I think they're nice about what you see is what you get.
I'm here for you, buddy. See through me.
I don't.
Yeah, I think we just pick these areas. They're not.
You're supposed to be scatter terrain, I believe.
Yep. Alright, sure guys, go. Good luck. Have fun. I'll wait. I got a commander. So are we keeping track of command? Good luck.
I have my phone.
Command points? Yeah, I have it.
I have an app.
Fine, so with the last commander going on the table and his accompanying drones, it appears that Andre and Mikey have fully deployed, and turn one will begin with the Ultramarines and Chaos Knights.
Good luck. Have fun.
did you, already?
Already
It's 40 is 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got it. So we're down to 9.
We have 9 left.
Also, these don't seem for the book.
Right there.
I was like, oh, thank you.
Say, you know exactly.
Oh, man. You know,
Yeah, I think you.
that's his friend.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? Like the flank?
Who's your warlord? Oh, no, I guess I should have it here.
You've got the Grey Commander. Who's my warlord over there?
Who's your warlord?
It's the red, the red Bangman Franks.
I knocked that shit down way too much.
So I can't advance.
Let's see. That begins to oppose. I'm gonna pick your warlord. If the people are within 6 inches of the lieutenant right here, everybody gets all reroll all hits and blue rolls against that specific guy. Okay?
Oh, and just so you know, I can't put it against him.
Yeah, that's the downside.
Alright.
I'll give you a gotcha.
Yeah, well, actually, we do need to look into that. Thanks for pointing out the. So, can we measure before we get too carried away? On the camera, at least, it looks like that objective marker's too far back. I don't think it's gonna kill, but I just.
I could re-roll his charge return.
No, whatever. I'd be lying to you if I said we measured.
I actually have to roll for his damnation drill.
My advanced weapon is 30 inches and 6 more power.
Yeah. If the damation applies, he can't fall back in combat, and he has 6 ballistic skill, along with it, he's using a fetish on him.
What?
No, there's 6 objectives, so there's.
Norman.
Who you advancing?
Rampager.
So the knights are advancing across the table. The rampager advances 3 inches.
4.
So +1, so 4 inches. He's going to try to seize the middle of the table.
That's why I think it's
So what are you doing?
re-roll.
Looks like the Ultramarines are kind of
against that
doing a slow march.
Is it okay.
He's not super menacing, but he's kind of scary.
Alright.
I think he's strength 6, AP 1, 2 damage. 4 attacks and wounds on you.
So you'll be hitting on 3 if you roll the 1. Against that. You'll have to hit.
If you move
Oh,
him, you have to
minus
go out the
2
back
to hit.
corner.
No, that's my problem.
We're both stealthy.
Yeah, he's just always minus 2 to hit.
So are my close?
Too big stuff to the wall.
Declare those as runes.
Yeah, he's not super good. I don't know why he's 60 points.
Are those guys on the bottom or?
No, these guys
I
are
mean,
not.
you can put him in deep dark, and then if someone's like behind, like an easy
It used to be better, because it said, his rule was deploy
12 or 14 troopers?
28.
Okay. So he's this group.
One rock.
And
No,
there's this gray one on top right there.
his rule is
There's another one like
deploy
this.
within 6 inches of selected character. It is no longer that.
Imagine having, like, a librarian.
Psychic stuff.
So it looks like they've moved, and now we're moving into the psychic phase.
Scryer's Gaze. If it goes off, I can get a command.
So Ultramarines are trying to gain more command points.
Who's that?
Very big grand entrance.
He's gonna be this guy. How many can you cast? You can cast 2. And he failed that one.
Looks like he does not gain any command
I'm not
points.
gonna spend a command point to try and get a command point, so. Oh, that one's done. And for the hell of it, null zone, because I don't think I'm in
Lot of
range
split that.
of sight of anything else really.
So we're saying this is cover, but not
Just out.
Not really.
line of sight blocking. It's line of sight blocking. It is line of sight. What you can see is
And
what
the other ability.
So you can see them through the window.
Target's damage. So yeah.
So it's not really line of sight.
But the building's definitely
I said
So the Ultramarines are not casting today, so their psychers are not feeling it. The Knights don't have any psychers, so we're moving into the shooting phase.
Debating. That's the character you cannot shoot it. He is not the closest. Bro, There's a bunch of stealth suits right here.
So weird. You can see this. They're so stealthy. Oh my god. They live up to the name.
So the Ultramarines don't have a lot to shoot at because those stealth suits are hiding behind the right L.
Those guys, their characters below 10 have wounds, so yeah.
However, you can shoot everything inside the building.
I can't because I can't see them.
You want
Ruins.
do we need to
Correct.
spend 2 to gain cover, or does it matter?
Alrighty, cool.
So the Ultramarines have no targets.
This one does, but you can shoot whatever you want to shoot at first.
We'll see if a Chaos Knight has any line of sight. It does not look like he has.
Oh, we didn't declare those as cover? Everything else.
I asked Jonathan when he wanted to call him. He said ruins.
My game was forgot. Yeah, alright.
We did it, everybody.
He had definitely shoot at turn 1 and
So it appears that the Chaos Knights also don't have any targets that they are shootable because everybody that's out in the open is a character and
Spending 2 command points with a stratagem full tilt. He cannot charge.
so that Knight Rampager is spending command points to go full tilt, which allows him to advance and charge. So he is going to attempt to get into those cultists in the ruins.
Round ends, the game ends in 2 hours.
Okay, and I have the helmet third eye, so do we get a 10 point?
Mikey tries to steal a command point and does not.
I'm actually going to shoot up.
Can you even see my knight?
This guy can.
So the tower are going to fire Overwatch for the cultists on the Rampager. It's not a lot of Overwatch, but it's something. It's worth shooting at least. He rolls a 12 for his charge, which +1 gives him a 13-inch charge. So he's going to be able to get into the.
And then 1/1.
So he's going to be able to get into the cultists.
And this is one. You're walking through a wall in the ruins. There's still a cover for people on the inside.
Oh, 40 can I know what he's talking about.
I'm gonna move in a minute.
Infinity.
Yes.
Alright, I'm going to advance these stealth
I think in it does split in the Vindicator, but it doesn't do anything.
So it looks like the Knight Rampager is going to be the only charge that they're going to manage to get.
It's on 2, wasn't it? Normally.
3's now, right?
Yep. However, since I'm iconoclast in charge, I gained an extra attack and my feet have +1 to AP.
So he gets +1 attack and +1 AP on the charge,
We really don't have to say anything.
which that AP is really not going to make too much difference against cultists. That knight is not hitting his optimal targets, but hopefully he can scavenge some kills out because I believe that Rampager, the more things he kills, the more attacks he gains, and will make him more effective later in the game if he survives.
And every 10 models I kill,
So if he scatters those cultists to the wind, he can hopefully gain some attacks.
I may end up winning at -1 to hit.
Oh,
Yeah, you just have the eye.
that's equation cover. You're rolling dice, not people shooting you, hitting you.
So the Knight Rampager is rolling a handful of dice here.
So does the jump work? It's a 5. It's pretty low. Don't explode on the feet.
5
7.
+3. Yeah, you can't fail.
Thank goodness his feet aren't exploding.
Most of them hit. See how he does on wounds. Looks like almost all of them wound. So he gets 11 wounds through on the cultists. So it completely obliterates a cultist squad.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes.
Every psychic power.
Except for spikes. Yeah, there's no way. You can't go in there. I know, but as long as I'm within 30 inches, I'm in combat. But you probably gonna pull.
You can't defend an inch of anyone. Yeah, you can't literally.
They're all
anyway.
Yeah, you're not within the mission.
So you can probably just pull. It saves me for a first half second.
Now the occultist can't attack you without falling back.
Oh no!
You could stay in combat and shoot with pistol now.
Alright, so you can follow up now and attack the
So those ruins are causing issues for that Night Rampager, because he's not going to be able to pile in and get very many attacks, because he cannot get inside those ruins.
So we still got that.
Woohoo! Good job, guys.
We did it, everybody.
Is that cultist versus knight? Come on.
Well, I wasn't sure we had tags in the night yet, so...
7 and now.
Maybe a 10-man bomb might surviving?
Alrighty.
So they are going to score some points, because they did manage to get a kill turn 1, so the Chaos Knights do get that. So, but that brings about the end of their turn, and now Tau and Chaos are up.
We can't get recon first turn, right? You just can't score people.
So that is
Alright.
1
A holder can test 4 or more objectives for the bonus. So because they took recon as well, that Night Rampager is also going to be helping them there, because he did manage to get it into his backfield.
And then, FYI for you guys, all infantry next to the officer carrier has 5 weapons.
So there were 2 shots that went through.
and then the one that got through.
For future reference,
So
there's
Mikey,
nothing else to shoot at.
Not to glorious melee combat.
With my cultist?
So
Do you not want to? Please think
they also managed to get an old school by killing in the first turn. So that is a bonus there too.
Jonathan's trying to talk you into not backing off.
So, the one
in the building,
he doesn't shoot. He does because he can't go in the building.
Yeah, technically.
apparently it's still invisible.
He's visible.
Okay.
These are invisible.
I got you.
Except to him, but he doesn't have any shoot
No, the
himself.
moral is
He has the stubber, that's it. 3 shots, 1
Well, actually, it's invisible to him. He actually can't even go inside the rooms at all because he's not an infantry.
Not even his little toe.
Right.
So would he even be in combat with those guys then?
He's not in combat with anything.
Okay.
No, he's just there. He walked up, found some soldiers, and picked up two. He's not gonna let you out.
Probably not.
Right.
No.
So the cultists are kind of just falling out there, and that way
They've got the means basically just kill.
the Tau are going to be able to attack that knight.
It'd be hard to push for your knight over there, but
I don't know.
yeah, we're really limited in what we can do, really.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Darn tootin'.
And this is why, like, I didn't want to listen to Andre, but I know I should. But he was like, just do it. Okay. I'll just do it.
Not a question. Even though they're in ruins,
Alright,
I'm not very
big
competitive.
five,
I can hear you. No. I'm not a very competitive person. I'm not always asking questions. But even if I say, tried to shoot something, this character, for example, I still can't shoot them because they're that big. That's definitely.
I'm using the shadow character rule, the stealth suits, which is why he wasn't allowed to shoot.
No, I can understand that.
My whole list goes off of using character rule.
No AP and no conversation.
We're noticing.
I can't even do that with my blood pressures. They're too big. And then they immediately die.
I'm actually.
Okay, so advance backwards.
Or advance forward.
Sideways. You do a little advance shimmy.
Looks like he's advancing his stealth suits that were up there, and he's going to fall them back into, maybe.
No.
Andre is making decisions.
I'll be back in about 30 minutes.
Alright.
So is that all of them, or there's still more?
That's still another unit.
Okay.
So he advanced one unit of his stealth suits back behind the ruins on the right side,
Okay.
but he did leave one set of cell suits up there behind that right L.
The cursed owl.
Got one little six.
Might range?
Okay, quick question. Who has Death X?
All the phantoms like
You don't have to advance, he just has to move an inch that way. He just has to move an inch that way, so he's 25.
Okay.
So he can't deny it.
I can't think anymore.
That's what I was looking for.
So got to be measuring those psychic powers all the time to make sure that they can't deny them.
We'll give up hold more for the first turn. Push out.
So it's 4 up.
2 damage.
Alright, so I'll start with the psychic phase.
So it looks like they're done with the movement phase and moving into the psychic phase.
With
This phase leaves Tau out in the cold, but Chaos is going to get this.
I'm going to start off with Death Hex onto this guy. He's an 8, but he gets a +1. That's for his relic.
So they're going to Death Hex the Night Rampager.
7. Roll 2. No invulnerable.
So they have just stripped that Night Rampager of its invul, which is rough. And now they're smiting the Night Rampager.
It does not go off.
So they do not get the smite off.
Yeah, but the important power's off, so.
Yeah.
So everything else can pretty much fail in the psychic phase as long as that Death Hex gets off, which it did, which means that Night Rampager is most likely dead. I mean, without catastrophic dice rolls, I don't see it surviving.
It goes off on a 5 because he gets a +1.
Same target?
It's on him. There's nothing else. It goes off on him. I can reroll a dice later on in the turn.
He can reroll any dice from this point on. Any one dice.
And then he's going to cast Smite on the same target. I get a +1.
In general. Until the beginning of our next cycle.
It goes off with Super Smite.
acts like a command point reroll.
So he does get an 11, so he gets D6 on the smite. So for 6 mortal wounds on the Night Rampager.
That's your warlord?
Yes. So 6 mortal wounds is very good there. Makes up for missing the smite earlier.
Ironically, the smite's not the important thing.
I'm going to use another command point for Kabbalistic Ritual. On the Warlord, he's going to get a +2 to his roll. He's going to start off with Smite, which is a 11, which will be Super Smite. And his Warlord takes a +1 to all mortal wounds.
You can use your Gaze of Fate reroll for that.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
For 3.
So he does 3 more mortal wounds. He got his Gaze of Fate off earlier, so it gave him a reroll on that. So
Super Crazy Power, which is called Astral Blast. That goes up on a 6 with a +1. So it goes up. And it is
Yeah, because there's 2 units in there.
so it's just D3 +1. That's his Warlord trait. 4 and 4.
So 4 more mortal wounds.
I might not even get
This is a
shooting.
bubble of mortal wounds. I forgot that's why I was interested.
Is it like Corsair thing or just like?
It is stuff.
So that Night Rampager is down to 11 wounds in the psychic phase.
So, onto the other. Okay, so.
Welcome to our turn, Andre.
I mean, that's okay. They'll still shoot the Dreadnought.
Alright, so Armand's going to start off with.
Should kill it.
These are, he'll start off with Smite with +1.
They'll just take their finger.
It goes off with a 5. And
We haven't done Smite yet.
that's 3. Brotherhood of Psychers. They know what that's why I
Yeah,
started off
they
with.
don't suffer the -1 penalty.
So there's 2 mortal wounds to him. And then I'll do.
So that's 2 more mortal wounds. That Night Rampager with another smite.
Goes off on a 7, like +1. So it goes off. I roll 9 dice.
So now he's cast Zeech's Firestorm, so he gets to roll 9 dice, and I believe
Every 6, like it's a mortal wound.
6s are mortal wounds. And he gets a couple.
2.
+1, I'm guessing?
No, not for him.
So 2 more mortal wounds from Zeech's Firestorm, taking him down to 7 wounds.
It keeps riding up, and when it rides up too high, then my glasses start fogging, so I gotta pull it back down.
So then I'm going to cast
Pull this side, close off
it's
the
called
nose a bit
Doom
more.
Bolt, which is goes up on 9, it's +1.
Trust me, I have to wear this thing like
And
24/7.
it goes up on 9,
So it's just like.
and it is, I believe,
I'm
D3
used to it
more,
now.
D3 more, or 2.
So 2 more mortal wounds. taking him down to
Have your movement.
4 or 5.
And
Mikey.
Huh?
Thank me for a second.
I love you, buddy.
So if it
Remember
survives,
before when you said we're friends? Like,
if it survives, it literally won't be doing anything.
okay, so then I'm going to use another command point.
So let's go.
How many you using? Just one more. Okay. I'm going to use it for,
Okay, then
see.
we'll go.
We're down to 21.
13 boys over here. 13 boys on the other
You
end.
guys have 9.
One mile,
Okay, so I'm going to use Infernal Gateway.
14 on
We start
Which
with
goes off on an
you
8,
two, I
things
guess.
plus 1.
Guys in the back won't be able to attack.
So it goes out. With an 8. And
Mikey is fully utilizing his +1 to cast, as he is barely passing most of these powers.
That's usually how it works. So D3 more mortal wounds for 1.
So he does 1 more mortal wound there, bringing him down to 4 wounds.
And that's it.
Oddly enough, he can move a total of 3 inches right now. He ain't going nowhere.
So the Knight Rampager has been crippled,
You tried the corner, he was
and
just like,
Chaos's psychic phase is now done. So now we're going to be moving into the shooting phase, folks. And if Tau felt left out before, now they'll have their time to shine. But we thought taking that invul save off of that Knight was going to be a big deal. It turns out it may not have been.
So we got 2 points for each hunter already.
So we got a bunch of cultists shooting into a Knight,
I think that,
hoping to shave those last 4 wounds off.
Start shooting you.
we're shooting first.
And because it's a team game, there's going to be lots of dice flying around on the table. So it looks like the Tau are going to be shooting at the Ultramarines, while Mikey and his Chaos are shooting at the Knight.
1 damage reduced.
So I'll try to keep you apprised of the situation as we go here, but
Yeah.
It's looking very grim.
Oh, you're shooting all of them together.
Yeah, you gotta do them separate because if I roll 3 1s off 1 weapon, it's only 1 mortal wound rather than 3 mortal wounds.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
It's the same guy though.
3 AP zeros. So they all hit. 7?
Yeah.
Failed to.
so he does take 2 wounds from pistols, and that is just brutal, taking him down to 2 wounds.
So the Marines are gonna fire 4 bolt guns and a Krakenade.
Alright.
So Krakenade first.
Minus 3.
Wounds on a fire. He has exploding save. He does not get the 5 up.
Hero 1,
Right
yes.
next to the opponent.
Okay. Hitting on 3.
Damage.
3, 2, 2.
That's 3, 2, 2, so it goes down to 2, 1, 1. That's
Yep.
pretty good damage. He's at 9 remaining.
So it looks like 4 damage has gone into the Redemptor Dreadnought.
Are you 8?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's 2.
Same thing.
Yeah, double save.
Sorry, I thought we were 7. I don't know.
So just 2?
Yes.
Huh? 2, 3 up. Got him up.
So the Knight has managed to save himself.
Okay, so bolt pistol from the sorcerer and bolt pistol from the master of execution.
Alright.
Both on 3. And then
2, 3, 3, so 1 for 2.
5. Yep.
Down to 4.
Ow.
So the Redemptor Dreadnought is down to 4 wounds, if I saw.
Okay.
So
Fusion into the night.
What is it, 2?
It don't matter.
How many wounds he has left?
So it looks like we have a Tau commander shooting his fusion blasters into the Knight.
2 at minus 4.
So
The Knight?
Yeah.
it looks like he's got 2 wounds, no save.
They've got a 3 up base save.
And he has no invul.
Yeah.
Already he explodes.
Or well,
He doesn't explode.
see. Line up use command point to see if he blows up on a 4. Blows up on a 4 up?
Yep.
Normally or 6 up normally?
6 up normally, but you can send a CPU.
Well, what's your range for balls?
2d6.
2d6?
That's not too bad.
It'd be fun. It's the most damage.
So they're going to spend a command point to make the Knight blow up on a 4 up. And he rolls a 1.
You want to reroll that? Wait. 9, not 6.
Not sword.
So they're going to spend a command point to...
That's you. I mean, if you want to go for it.
I'd like to.
Why not?
So they're going to spend a command point to re-roll that 1, shooting for a 4. They rolled a 6. So the Knight does explode. Explodes 2d6 inches for 7 inches. So it's going to catch almost everything in the ruin, and maybe some extra.
Well, I mean, it just hits what's in the ruins. Okay, so 2 poultices and a. So the first poultice. D6.
So d6 mortal wounds to everything in there. So it does 3 to 1 cultist squad. 4 to the other cultist squad. And I believe there are some Marines in there. He does 4 mortal wounds to the Marines.
We could have gotten Butcher's Bill.
So,
You wouldn't have got it.
Why not? Is it just our turn?
No, it's during a turn. Shoot it out to
He has
the
a better weapon.
Well, no, it's to a turn.
Oh, okay, so we'd have to kill one more during your turn. So that would work, even if that worked.
so Mikey does take some damage there in that ruin. The knight actually did do it, but not nearly as I'm sure he would have liked to have done with that knight. Those psychic powers really chewed him up.
In my first turn.
Hard nerves.
Alright, they're gonna we're tied on kills. We have morale though.
That's true.
So it's dice.
I mean, you can keep a unit if you really want to.
not too concerned.
Well, how about though? How many did you lose here? 5? 4. Leadership what?
6. The big white die.
So,
That's underneath your page.
no, they won't.
First guy, 2.
Kills the guy with 2 left.
2.
Second guy, 2.
He's not dead
There we
yet.
go. So, 2 in the back.
What about the Seth Marine?
Yeah.
Kills the guy with
I would
2 and
not me. I was like, you can make him fearless and then come back.
The other unit.
That's a good
point. I should do that.
They
come in the back and.
No. Their touch is 3.
So you guys take hold more that turn.
Still hit him on.
But we do hold 1.
Yes.
It is currently 4 to
Well,
5.
I proceeded-
So, alright, so let me update the scores here for you folks, as that is the end of round 1, and we are going into turn 2.
Kill more, we go 5. So it should be 1 kill, 1 hold. 3 big game, and then you guys have 1 kill, hold more, and then 1 hold.
So Mike and Andre have 5, and Josh and Jonathan have 4.
Isn't that disgusting, Michael? Sorry, what? We have 21 command points remaining, starting at 24.
2, 4, 6.
Pretty gross. That's what happens when you cheat, though. I know. Thank you.
So
It's actually nice this time.
Ultramarines and Chaos Knights are going into turn 2.
I mean, granted, if he wasn't the powerhouse, you would have been the powerhouse, but still.
Nice.
Better than points they got in 3 moves.
Alright, our turn. Hey, guess what?
I'm in tactical doctrine. Whoa!
Can't wait for that assault option.
Here, let me roll die.
Oh, yeah.
No, they're dead.
You know, nothing. Look, can't take them out.
Yeah, there's literally nothing we
Yes,
can do
that's
besides move forward and just charge and hope we do something, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, my stealth is back, so if they do charge,
And
we just
do
kill them.
not count for
Because they have to go through that wall.
They don't. They have 4.
I believe that Tau and Kodak and
You move in, you try to kill things.
yeah, Tau and Chaos have really zoned the board. With those stealth suits still behind that right L, it leaves them next to nothing to shoot at and next to nothing to charge.
The backyard will put themselves
No, they're ruins.
So we may see a very short psychic and shooting phase,
May? No, there was a question to that one?
and the movement phase is going to be basically just maneuvering.
He's just one beneath the lowest bracket.
1 point for the post stand. You okay, hold at least 1.
I guess, what the hell? Oh, yeah.
Killed 2 units this round. 1.
So the Ultramarines are moving up into the L.
Okay.
I believe that their hope there is to charge those stealth suits through the wall, which on the right side they won't take much overwatch because of the L, but it does leave them in a bad position if they do get the charge off. Now they're in the midst of a firestorm of Tau shooting and the full wrath of Mikey's Chaos Psychic powers. So
Player hold or contest 4 at the end of their player's turn. Gain 1 point.
Chaos Knights don't seem to be doing much moving, but he may just be waiting on the Ultramarines to finish up.
It does say player's turn. That's why I double check. Okay, first like the game just fine.
Well, move around a little, let's see.
Another question, if my base is your base, and I still shooting
That
it?
corner.
I'm gonna move my landlord. Maybe.
So you're just like, this is roll.
That's all I can do right now.
I can't really do much.
Alright. In that case, I will.
So he's going to move his knight up into that
Uh,
L
Actually.
in hopes that he can see
Are you
something.
still on this side of the board? You have to be wholly within for recon? Or partially is fine. Do you have to be wholly or partially within for recon?
I'm going to.
Partially.
Okay.
Or, I think fully, actually. I'll tell you in a second.
Because I can just move up forward and at least get a point there.
Trying to make sure that they've got recon on their knight.
And you all first take out the other way. Would you be able to get to that corner or this corner? And do something?
He's already in building.
Yeah, but he can only climb one.
Correct.
So we'd have to move another guy forward to that corner.
So-
You have to move right in the middle.
You have to move this out of the way,
Or he
so
can
that
move.
that can't move until this moves.
You want to move your guy in the middle?
What's your finger over there? Why would you real heal?
I'll move this way then, and be another block. For 10 seconds. He splits into 2 units, combat squad.
Alright, so now the war dog is moving up into the middle of the board.
I'll move with psychic.
And
Can I get
Andre is doing some inappropriate touching, not social distancing.
Null zone.
Coronavirus is a scam.
Hey, what happens then? You can for Arma? You definitely can't deny.
I hope our viewers didn't hear Andre so we don't get banned off of Twitch.
Let's see. I gotta get on a 6. Sure, why not? I mean, you got 21 now. That's not one.
Right. You got a D20? I got a D20.
So
Move is off on the absolute psychic. Shooting.
Wait for him to be done.
so
On phase.
they're going to move into the shooting phase and then move right on out of it as they have no targets.
Pretty damn sure. Yeah. Literally no target. Alright, charging phase.
The Ultramarines have just had a rough go. They just got out deployed, it appears, which is always frustrating.
It wasn't just the Ultramarines though. He also matched that one in part too. What you can see your characters.
Yeah.
I know.
I recharge the cell suits, but...
That's what I want you to do, so.
Yeah. You want me to do that? I move forward, get out of the bubble.
Yep.
I'm now you
Oh
at the
yeah,
top.
in case you're wondering how
So, yeah.
to pass around.
That's it. Yeah. Good turn.
So Ultramarines are not going to charge the stealth suits because he would actually leave his character bubble and it would leave them incredibly vulnerable to shooting next turn. So he is just going to stay put. So while it may not be exciting, sometimes this is 40k, folks. Sometimes you just have to maneuver.
Huh? Yeah, but not like this.
They are scoring some of their maneuver secondaries, so while it may not be exciting, they're still scoring some points. So that is, now we're moving into the bottom of turn 2 for Tau and Chaos movement phase.
So here's two we can do. You can come over here. And cast 6 boys. That's like target them all, right?
One unit.
I'm gonna cast Catalyst.
12 inches. Like, and this guy.
Reroll the ones that are still in their own
I think I
buy.
So
It doesn't go up.
we can start shifting this way.
I'm gonna
Because
cast
we kill the
Smite
boss
again,
then.
this time from a girl
That's
throw.
it.
Roll the one, I get the girl throw.
So I'll move these guys back and hang over. Yeah, because I'm about to just shift over here.
Two more boys. Two more.
Honestly, I wouldn't even waste it. Because that's actually irrelevant in this situation.
I'm gonna cast.
I just use all your mortal
Sector.
wounds.
So that affects the -1 to.
No, it's the cycle you're
By something.
Okay. It's basically a
It
range.
goes off. Put it on
Or
high
single
guard.
target range.
Shooting
single
tactics,
unit range.
follow. I'm gonna cast
Whereas yours
spend
is 6
command
inches
point.
from the castle.
Yeah.
The drone comes down with all powers.
We're gonna do Monolith with advance and charge with no penalty. Or advance and shoot with no penalty, sorry.
One more boy. Don't worry, I have one more
As
tonight.
I've done it, I've made one of the most useful.
Got harder each time.
Let's
Well,
go.
the second string is not smite, it is the other name. But this will be a 5, 6,
My
7.
fingers
That
with
takes-
model is right there. Is all
That takes away 2
Boys
inches,
don't
right?
spit
Tell me.
again.
Okay, I used 24 out of 40.
So then if you advance, it's actually 4
Okay, my
inches.
psychic is over. Does you have any?
You said good, so.
I do. More magic. I'm going to cast Minor Heroes on.
So the tower breaking out of their little castle over there. See if they can get the Ultramarines surrounded.
Try. Oh, yeah.
Try about that. Attack, toughness, and leadership. And I'm going to cast Build Time on my.
Smile and wave.
Just smile and wave, boy.
Intercessor Sergeant here, which means he's going to.
You know what, given how this fight is going, I'm going to say Marnie's Calgary is basically Zapbrain in this situation. Men, when you're on a mission with me, every mission is a suicide mission.
Okay, is that all?
All my psychic.
Great, I'm gonna, my
Marty is
sword is
Brand
going
again.
to move since he has no shooting.
So while they're in their movement phase, I'm going to go check in on the other table and see how Iron Hands and Tyranids are faring against Tau and Orcs.
Not well.
We're scared of each other's shooting.
It looks like there's models all over this table. It's kind of hard to see what's going on.
Units with the hive guard.
Okay, -1 to hit.
The unit of
Yeah.
Which one? The one that. Well, no, you're going to cover anyway.
So,
I'd like to shoot them, but they're out of range.
so it looks like the Orcs have basically put the pressure on
That one.
while the tower is standing back and doing the
Only
shooting.
two left, so they get 4 shots. Hitting on
Tyranids
4s,
and Iron
throwing
Hands are-
1s, exploding on 6s.
Looks like they're pinned down in a corner.
Okay, what now?
So
Yeah, that's
it's an exciting game going on over here anyway, looks like.
4s, rerolling 1s, exploding on 6s.
We're near the corner. That's not right.
Reroll those 1s.
Nice.
1 explosion. Counts as 1 additional hit. I don't have to roll for it.
Alright.
Strength 8.
Toughness 4, so 2.
3 minus 2. Ignores cover.
Save it on 5. It's on 3. So it's top now.
We're rerolling
Alright,
fails.
so 1 goes through.
Oh, I thought these were in the middle here. Smite the shit out of them.
I was going to take care of it.
Yeah, that's fine too. I don't care. That's what you do. You do you, but.
So it looks like they're dividing up, divide and conquer.
Rhymes.
So the tower taking on the Ultramarines, and it looks like Chaos wants a piece of that knight. So see if they can go 2 for 2 on the knights.
Hey, boys.
How many moves does this guy have? Chicken guy.
13?
14 or 14.
Not one of the command points to do that again.
They're like the
He
Redemptor
has
almost.
12.
Oh, even less. Really?
I killed 8
Yeah.
of them.
I guess they do have some scoring legs and arms. They skip leg day and arm day.
You have to wipe them or they will come back.
It's like necklace, but all at once.
Yeah.
How much is the red horse here? Bring the 3. 3? Can I just go over there and get? Yeah, 100%. Where's 1 360?
This guy's been...
Take out the board. The turn goes over there. And he comes back with all his members.
The Chaos Space Marine Squad.
So we got a Chaos Space Marine squad. Comes in 9 inches from a board edge.
So Mikey is using Chaos shenanigans to bring some Red Corsairs in.
9 inches will get you on like on the tip of that objective right there. You can bring them on. No, bring them on through the ruins.
So,
Can't shoot me.
so Mikey is seizing the objective in the rear
Hide in the building? Huh? Should I just hide in the building? Yeah, 100%.
on the left side.
You have to tell.
We know you're in the building.
You can leave it on top and just say they're on the first floor.
Yeah.
So those Red Corsair Space Marines are inside the ruin, over here on the left side of the table, seizing that objective.
Same with Chaos.
That's why you did it. I see they used it really good, but he was like... I was like, he watched me put him there.
So those are Alpha Legionnaires, right?
Alright, do your psych things one in.
So
First I'm gonna smite onto that guy.
Real quick, what is the scariest? What's the scariest mortal
Goes up on
wound you
a
have?
5 plus 1.
That's a shit ton of mortal wounds. And Mikey, real quick, what's the scariest mortal wound deal you have?
Probably the bubble, because if it hits here, it's probably going to hit both.
Yeah, you got a psychic or a psychic.
I have two or three psychic powers that do a bubble in the war.
Okay.
And then if he fails, then I'm going to do full gaze. I'm going to pick this guy. Goes up on a 5, plus 1.
So Mikey is moving into his psychic phase.
And made a roll of 12.
Oh yeah, I'm not going for that one. He's rolling on that guy. So.
And 4 pluses cause mortal wounds. So that's 3 mortal wounds on this guy.
So 3 mortal wounds to the knight so far.
And then I'll go on to the non.
You want a D20?
There you go.
So then it'd be back at
I keep doing you.
Goes up on a 6, but it gets plus 1. So it gets 8 goes off.
I didn't think I
I get roll of that.
Is that the bubble, I mean?
It was just painful watching you guys. Then I'm gonna use it's like, well, I'm not playing fucking 40k today. Plus 1. It's 8.
Well, see, that's the nice part of having the mask, is that you can't see me grimace. That's...
Swipe.
No.
D3. 4, 3.
So there's 3 mortal wounds to the war dog.
Okay. And then the 24. How many does that start with?
What? The dreadnought, 13. He's now 9.
So 24, 9, 32, or 33, sorry.
How much was the...
We just need 40 wounds. We're going to get it this turn.
Yeah.
And then do spend a command point for ritualistic, capitalistic ritual. Plus 2. So plus 3 to this roll, on smite, onto that guy. Super smite. 13. Can you deny that? I get 5 wounds. Plus 1.
So 5 more mortal wounds to the war dog as Mikey casts smite.
Astral Blast.
Okay.
That is still a good name for it.
Actually, no, I'm going to do Infernal. Infernal.
What's that one?
No, I'm doing Astral Blast. It's the one that is the bubble.
Okay.
Goes up on a 6, plus 1. Goes up on a 6.
Oh, should I roll that down?
Oh, okay, I rolled a 6. Yeah, I'll just use my...
Have you already done a reroll this turn for that?
So it's 8.
Alright, I'll deny it. I deny it with an 11.
Okay.
So Astral Blast gets denied.
And he used his psych power reroll. We have not used a CP reroll.
Okay, so that was a CP reroll.
No, that was. We haven't rerolled the psych power yet.
I thought you rerolled one of them in the beginning for the smite or something?
No, we thought about it, but then it was like, yeah, I'm over it.
Yeah, I was gonna, but yeah, it's just on the regular guy.
Sounds good.
So Automon is gonna cast Smite. We'll go on to that guy. He gets plus 1.
Oh, it is alright.
So it goes up on 9.
Yeah, right here.
And it's D3, 4, 3.
The old metal man.
So 3 more mortal wounds to the war dog.
And then Zeech's Firestorm targeting this guy.
So Zeech's Firestorm.
That one does not.
Well, then just kill that one that's on 1 if you don't have no psych power.
This one, casting that one, this one. Well, no, I do have one more. I just gotta, it'll be the last one.
That's what I was telling you.
So it goes up on a 10.
I've got no more
They
than
can't
that.
Okay.
So Zeech's Firestorm goes off. So this is where he rolls dice, and 6s are mortal wounds.
Which one, Wood Dog or the big knight?
On the big guy. So none.
Doesn't look like he gets any mortal wounds.
And then last is Doombolt, plus 1. It goes off on a 9. Does not go off. I'm gonna roll this one. So it's a 9.
You're plus 1. So it goes up.
Yep, that's what I said. And then D3 for 2.
Does that explode?
This one.
I believe
So does 2 mortal wounds to the war dog, and they're going to see if it explodes.
So that automatically gives us kill on a 6.
So on a 6-up, it'll explode. It looks like he rolls a 3, so it does not explode.
I shall pass the roll on that.
So the war dog in the middle has
How many you guys have for big
been
game?
destroyed.
Oh, we maxed that out when he did a couple wounds of that.
Oh, okay.
Because it's 10 wounds to anything with a vehicle, monster, Titanic keyword.
Yeah, right, because you got 24 over there, 9 more here.
How many are left? So then we'll cast, I'm just going to one more command point to cast one more one on my warlord.
Yeah.
And I'm going to cast, this doesn't really matter, they all have the same damage. Actually, no, I guess warlord really can do these things. So, Ritual Gateway on an 8, or plus 1, it goes off on an 8. And it does D3.
+1.
My charge.
Of course, it's coming in clutch.
So 3 more mortal wounds to the big knight,
How many?
taking it down to 8 or 6, so 18.
800,000.
I wanted to know. I wanted to know.
Deny. I'm chief librarian now. I got promoted.
Anyone with 3 inches will take more wounds, but there's no one.
Actually, I don't think I actually could even take that with Ultramarines who's running specifically Ultramarines. Because Tiberius is around. Not too bad.
And I'm also going to start with mine.
That's it.
So it looks like their psychic phase is done. We're going to move into the shooting.
One more spell, but it's not. Well, actually.
No, you don't. No, I said nothing.
You fucked up, yeah. Yeah, you got a range.
I think they'll probably die.
Alright.
Good. Yeah. Okay.
I'm feeling
Okay,
fine here now.
insert tail first, 'cause it's pretty terrible.
That psychic phase wasn't so bad for me. Oh, what are all those Tau shooting doing? Oh god.
Fusion.
Dreadnought? The Vindicator? Alright.
Team's going 1.
So it looks like the tower shooting their fusion into the Vindicator.
-4.
Oh, he's TA?
Alright, the rest of
Yeah,
it's
it's
passed.
-4.
You're a little bit more interested. First on 2s, and I roll power 1.
6?
You're in half range?
Yeah.
What's the range of the fusion you're in?
18.
You're within 9?
Minus
Yeah, I
3.
matched out 9.
Which one?
How many wounds did you do?
Oh, fuck me.
Yeah, like, that is
God
not
damn
bad.
it. I thought I measured 9.
You just want to reroll one of those?
Yeah.
Since there's 6 and a 1.
6 up. 2 and 3.
Okay, sounds good. Down to, I think,
Fuck, I thought I was in half range.
4 or 5.
No, they won't do.
Now it's just 3 damage apiece.
Alright, no green tide.
3 or 4, one of them.
No
For the
green
last
tide.
turn.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna shoot next finger into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the form of
Down to,
Four
so it was 7, so 4.
All hit.
You marked on that one.
All hit.
Okay, we killed the thing. We killed
All hit.
one now.
These are the possibly
Okay.
the ones on
It was
the...
one big thing. and I
These
think
are the ones that could possibly be one.
Yeah, but
If they won't.
I had one.
Okay, you guys
This
kill
one's
one.
strength 8 as well.
Yep.
Ooh, jeez.
boy.
So
So
7? 7 minus 3?
Yep.
So
Alright.
this-
Yeah, he's gonna die.
We have.
So it looks like the Vindicator is destroyed and doesn't explode. That's good for the Ultramarines.
Oh, because they have to.
That would have been bad.
They can't have moved, right? Or no, they can't have attacked.
You can't have it on the first turn.
Next one into the dreadnought.
Doesn't matter.
I zero it. I'll throw duty and hurl there and see if this one
That's 2 CP, right?
That's the whole first round.
So round 2,
It is your turn.
movement.
Oh, wait,
So now we're shooting at the Dreadnought.
The drone.
I have leadership to.
Hey, you got a reroll.
Drone
Got
run.
it.
Yeah.
Good job. You killed it. Does that count?
How many wounds does the command team have?
Like
Yeah, it happens at the end of their turn. It does.
So no one has killed more than that.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'll just.
Hey!
If you ran
So
that.
5 more on the bed.
Yep.
Yeah, good job.
Now he's gonna die.
Point denial.
So the Dreadnought goes down.
You killed an entire unit.
Yeah.
The Dreadnought does not explode, but it is out.
He's gonna declare unity death station there.
What's that do?
It's nothing you can stop, but 6 is dealing additional AP.
Alright, what's he shooting with?
He's not shooting. I'm just
Oh.
declaring it.
Okay.
They're gonna be shooting.
Alright, I'll do transhuman. That's for the entire round, right?
Yeah.
At
But okay, that's fine.
end of our turn.
I need them to survive. Alright, command point. Do they get one back for that last one I spent? No. Do they get one now? It's 2 CP. No. Alright, so down to 5. I spent 3.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can get him back.
Oh, he's got CP generation.
Yeah, we got one.
Wait, so it's on 5 ups for others and yourself? Okay.
You should advance your
Alright, so these guys will be hitting on 4s and just 1s.
So now it looks like the stealth suits are firing into the Space Marines. Space Marines have used transhuman physiology.
Which was silly because I'm just shooting a strength 4 weapon.
That's a weird objective.
Well, you're gonna have to shoot him eventually anyways. I thought you were shooting the fusion into them.
I strictly said just the stealth suits were shooting.
I thought they had fusion.
It's also
No.
like.
Okay.
They have burst cannons.
All of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
So 3
It
wounds.
was 48. Like.
So he gets 3 wounds.
One takes one.
So 1 wound goes through.
That's for the entire phase though for transhuman, right?
Not from the, over by the, from the
I don't know where that card went though, so.
Alright, so what
Same thing for the other squad.
The what?
So we must have ignored these guys.
They're more shoot.
Which one is your boss?
One goes down.
So that's one Marine dead.
Are they all Primaris?
Yes. Everyone's Primaris
They're gonna
except
shoot
for
the
the
blue.
character.
They're gonna shoot the blue squad.
Alright, I'll come over there as well.
So this is the back squad right here.
Yep, shoot them.
Fantastic, so definitely has something to do.
All the commands going to advance.
He has deep strike.
Who? I'm over here. Oh, that guy? Yeah, well, this guy here does too. Two wrong ones.
Oh, that's right. Prepare to dodge, one more.
Alright, 9. I got a 5-up invul.
Does he have any shooting?
Who, Gas?
Yeah.
He has March Roar.
That sounds dangerous.
Basically, they took 4 big shooters and bolted them together.
All right. That's gonna be a heck of a
But
fight.
within 3 inches of all of them.
So it looks like the Tyranids and the Orcs are going to throw down as Gazskull and the Swarm Lord face off.
I want to go over here then. That looks scary.
So
Okay, I'm over here. I don't know.
Squad delineations right here. The blue guys are the sergeants.
That looks
I was
scary.
really kind of excited about pulling apart that crisis.
I was excited about that too, but like I
Oh,
was
those
big
guys
wolf
still
with these.
hiding in the back.
I don't get dreadnoughts alone. Alright.
Knock him off an objective.
Let's move in and do something else.
So, we hold the same bit two.
It's a fun game.
so it looks like they tie on objectives.
So we definitely took Killmore that turn.
So that's the end of turn 2.
Huh?
I don't know what you're saying. That's ridiculous.
In this corner right here.
So, kill more, kill one.
We also took Recon and behind enemy lines.
We did not kill anything. So, let's see. You definitely maxed out big game.
Yep.
You do have recon. Do you have recon?
We do.
I am too.
So it's 11 to 7
Enemy lines,
currently.
you got one.
Toughest three wounds.
So it is 10 to 6.
It would be
They're like my girls. They're
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So I've got the score at 11 to 7. At the end of turn 2, and they'll be moving into the top of turn 3.
I'll just have to end your turn with the bonus. You can help pull. You have the vindication.
Well, we didn't have that one. Did you have it at the end of our turn, or at the beginning? Yeah, you have that one. So 11 to 6.
So it's 11 to 6.
This last turn. No, you kill that next turn.
So Mikey and Andre take a commanding lead as we move into the top of 3.
This over there. This can stay. That way we get bonus for this table edge.
Yeah, shoot the dreadnought. Right. It's an interesting
Can I do those spell suits?
Yes.
The damage?
I want to kill something.
You probably kill spell suits.
Yeah.
He's got the.
I can finish him off though if I need to.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm gonna make mine like you did.
Okay, never mind.
I can't wait for the new edition to come out.
7.
So it looks like the Space Marines are advancing through the L here.
I would guess two.
Actually, I'm gonna have to do it again anyways, so that's off.
27 shots. There's a chance you deny null zone though.
There's a chance,
But
because
it's
you
not
can
right now.
deny. And my psychic rolling shit, so.
Because if you deny null zone, you change this whole plan.
Yeah, I'm not going right now yet.
Right. No, I
Okay.
He just warming his dice
Warming
up.
up the dice.
Because if he gets null zone off, you're losing 2, maybe 3 characters. If he doesn't, he can't charge you anymore.
Yeah. Well, I can still charge. I'm just gonna die.
Right. You can't
Well, I'm gonna die
efficiently
anyway.
charge.
I'm gonna die anyway, but maybe I'll kill a couple things first. See, the problem is, to do that, I need to get him right here, and he blocks all the other characters I want to get into that fight. So,
Or
I'm gonna fucking elevate him.
Two. Oh, it was 2. Oh, sorry. 2 damage.
4.
Not worth
Yes. So 4 ups.
Does he have a jetpack?
Okay. So
He's
if you
not.
go through.
So 40. I don't have points for that. I should have had
Maybe
points.
north now.
I don't think so.
I did not. Oh well. Okay.
Let's see. 6 inches, he's gonna be within range. Alright.
Blue.
I'll move.
Because I can.
Alright.
There you go, Calgar. So instead of a 2, it's a probably a 1. Yeah, it's a 3. Okay. That extra inch does actually get him out of the way. A little bit more. There'll be room for somebody to shimmy through.
So on the plus side, when he bolsters out this way, I can roll my breaches out. Because my breaches are strength 6 minus 2 damage.
He's got the one single shot.
That's the effort.
So we're gonna go with the
Alright,
Or no, it's minus 3, 1 damage.
do I bring back a boy from the intercessor squad? No. Do I do it again because he's a selfish healer? Yes, he does. He's still stuck in
Bring them because of the intercessors, my man.
So the apothecary manages to bring back one of the dead Primaris Marines.
Alright, shooting. Hey, Jonathan. You want to do the only shooting we're going to get this entire game?
So they got their movement phase. Now they've got shooting, and it looks like they actually are going to get to shoot now.
True.
One thing.
The stealth goes down there.
I'm gonna spend a CP to make one additional last
Good for you.
So they are
Minus 2.
extra, so -2 to hit for the stealth suits.
Might as spend 2 CP.
Can I spend 2 CP?
Go for it.
Oh,
Screw it.
2.
Trail
I
of
get one back.
destruction.
Yep.
There we go. Hey, I finally get one back. We're down to 3.
Spending for Trail of Destruction.
Okay. What's that do?
That can be wall failed.
So he spent some CP to reroll failed hits on his knight.
Not worth it.
No, it's worth it for 1 command point.
It's
I
not
mean,
much
it's
I
worth
can
it for the heck of it.
Oh, well, yeah, you did get one back. Yeah, you're right.
Oh no!
I'm gonna.
Yeah, this
So-
is one of the few shooting things we get to do.
Oh, by the way, they're battle suits, so I can definitely pass off the drones.
Man.
Yeah.
I kill
If they're
something.
infantry, you can still pass those, right?
Huh?
Even if they're
Just battle
infantry.
suits.
Really? I thought infantry got that too.
The magnified bolts
Alright,
are
so
good.
it's a rocket pod and door.
Right? That was a guardian, right?
Guardian is 5. Breacher is a 5 up in ball.
Oh.
I have the toughness on that.
What are these?
I let
Storm Spear
him
rocket pod.
shoot, but
Okay.
How many
then
shots
wouldn't
against?
do that in fear of the airlock.
Oh,
Strength
it's
8
big
2
shot.
deficit 4.
Well, it's just that over there, I mean, it's carrying like 2 damage shots in a
Minus
one,
2.
but over here,
How much damage? D6.
I mean, I wouldn't have used it over there anyway. So hitting on 4s, you will fails.
Oh.
Goes to the
Hit,
zone.
wounding on 2, you will
So the Storm Spear rocket pod
2,
hits a drone, and the drone blocks it.
Heavy stubber.
and no matter what I roll, it's 3 damage. Minimum.
1 hit.
We did it.
Forward away.
I'd rather keep my swarm.
No, well.
Well, no, I'm between these.
Heavy stubber?
I'm saving command points, I'm saying.
You said heavy stubber though, right? Yeah. 3s. Strength 5.
No, 4.
And nothing's in range of the smite missiles, so that's
Yeah.
Numbers are just like an
Yeah.
18 minus.
Heavy
1.
stubber or
Basically
strength
a
4.
ball.
I can spend a CP to make it strength 5 if I'm thrown, but
Is this equivalent to a heavy bolter?
no.
Nope. It's a stubber. Big machine.
That is fucking
Also
stupid.
has no
Stuff
AP.
doesn't bolt.
into the
That is fucking stupid.
Has no AP as well. Sucks.
the
That is
flying thing.
absolutely stupid.
Sure.
Hitting on the piece of
I mean, it's guardsman your equipment. It's also on the freaking repulsor for some reason. I will never understand why they're just like Space Marines using stuff now.
I'm gonna do 1 Gatling cannon at a time. First one.
So now he's shooting his Gatling cannons. These are the big guns for the night. Luckily, he's re-rolling, so it managed to get quite a few hits.
See, I hit this 4, right? Alright, so winning on 3s.
2 with AP.
Good gosh.
Minus
So we
what?
get minus 2.
So I rolled 4 with that
How much
with
damage?
everything.
2 damage pop.
They still take 1 damage.
First one.
I cannot
Good.
save them.
You didn't shoot good.
Yes.
Okay, feel it.
Okay, so first guess
The
says,
interceptor.
well, let's push
Or-
No, that
I'm
was
just
mistake.
doing what
Oh
you
my
do.
So the doesn't even try to take him off the onto the drones. He just tanks those on his regular save.
But then he turns more cruel.
Again, lucky he's re-rolling, but still doesn't manage to put a lot.
You're going to go that melee.
That would have actually helped in this situation even if I got it off.
Try. For what? Minus 2.
So 4 more wounds.
Good. Oh, you got one. Pass off the drone. Do.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of the wall.
Dies. Pass off the drone.
It's only got 5 attacks.
So it looks like he kills a stealth suit and 2 drones.
But
You did it.
Sure, we're gonna spray the bullets up there. Okay. So he's, yes, at his ballistic skill
I'll shoot them then with
The only
the
thing
shoot
I would
in
really
front of them.
Do you want to go back to your second?
Yeah, sure. Okay, I have to come back.
Yeah, we can figure it out later. It's not a big deal.
9. Deny that.
That is the downside of shooting at Tau. They just seem to never die.
That's all command point. So 13. Yeah, okay, you denied that one.
So it appears that Null Zone has been denied as we trailed over the psychic phase, so they've been allowed to go back for it.
It goes off barely. 7.
Okay, got +1 because of armor.
So I have no more shooting.
So he denies,
Intercessor just gonna blast
and
bolt rifles into
now
the
that
guy in
the
front of
psychic
them.
phase is
Still -2?
over,
Okay, I'll shoot at them.
nothing was cast.
Okay. So that is
The Ultramarines are going to get to shoot.
Hello? You got him. I'm good back here.
You just stay back there. Okay, so. Mr. Gazgul.
You said he has 5 attacks.
That's 5 attacks. At this
Taking on spores, rerolling everything.
So the Ultramarines are shooting at some suits.
on keys. Reroll 1s.
Stuart, how's it going? Hey, I called Kevin on his cell phone there, and he said that he just talked to somebody at the store. And he said it that way. So,
So there's all those hit.
I don't know why, Josh, but I really like. I love the glove.
That weapon.
I love the glove.
Is 14. Yes.
No sarcasm. Honestly, takes 1.
Good.
I'm used to it just from work, so it's just like, yeah. So like, I know I sound.
So out of the 10 wounds, looks like 1 stealth suit is down so far.
It's kind of like the overly cautious part of it has just sort of been ingrained in us because
Takes a wound.
I'm not going to die for my company.
Very
Takes
well.
in, so you killed 2.
I'm gonna turn around and swing back now.
Go for it.
I got
So 2 stealth suits are down from Space Marine shooting so far.
Not really.
I'll shoot other intercessors into it. They're all going to be in half range regardless. And all These guys technically in range.
Still have to get over one.
Okay, so 3 of them can shoot
I'm
into
gonna do the pincer tail.
that. And then the other 2 can see them? Maybe? I don't know. Does that block it from that angle?
It would, 'cause I won't be able to shoot you.
Alright, so I'll shoot 3 of them into him for 6 shots.
7.
Yeah, I can do that.
Wounds on a 3, it's a strength 8.
Cool.
Hey, thank you.
No AP.
Rolling everything.
Yeah.
It's a 2.
So Kevin said he didn't think that it sounded like it was a bad deal. That
The rest of his
the
attacks.
burning smell, that the store described it as a burning smell, and they should have
first?
forward and that stopped the burn.
Or is it 2?
It's just 2.
Go in there.
Oh, right, you're passing it off to 2.
Wounds on 3. 6s or more wounds in addition.
So
No big deal.
I'm gonna spend a great point.
I will shoot. Reroll them. We waited to shoot the comedy mouth. That last round.
2 mortal wounds and 3 saves at -3.
Yeah, the ones I can't save, correct?
Correct. On
2
wounds.
minus 1.
5s.
And then how many
Well,
saves?
so the bottom
3
half
at
will be
-3.
-2.
So 3 4-ups.
Yeah, so I'm playing on 5s.
Yeah, 3 4-ups.
Here's a 4-pin bolt.
with both weapons. We're rolling everything now. All right, 1 hit, 4 to wound.
2 and 2.
That's not
4
one.
wounds.
Melt up. 3 on 5.
You only
Rolling.
take 4.
4 wounds.
He can only take
Two.
4, 8 days.
Wounds.
Really?
Yep.
That's all.
He is
Good deal.
the prophet of war.
Was it,
This man was a weapon belongs to say.
no.
In addition, the moment
All right.
So the Melta gets passed off to a drone, and then the drone saves it.
Calgar into them. 4 shots. I believe. No,
I really trying to kill us stealth suit.
true. I got nothing else to shoot at. I could shoot the drones, but
They get saved.
they've got the 5-up pinball anyways, right? They've got the 5-up pinball anyways. 4-up pinball, yeah. Sure.
Mini.
I don't actually know what Calgar can do with shooting.
But he gets stronger and hurtier the more he's wounded.
What is that for? Oh, you're overwatching the...
Shooting at that one, yeah, sorry. 5 Yep, all hit. Wounds on 4 still. Okay, 3 wounds. At minus 2. 2 damage. 2 damage? Yep. Alright, what's... And then the heavy bolts are here. Yep, I'll pass off. How many die? I don't know. 2 of them. Needing 5 and nothing. Okay.
So Calgar kills 2 drones,
Alright, that's shooting.
and it appears that that is it for the shooting on the Space Marines.
Trucks don't get.
You can't see my shitting grid, but I've got one. Alright,
I got 11. Hey.
who actually has guns over here? Okay, I'll try to do my arm.
Orcs make choices.
I guess you're on the bottom over here.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
can't see him?
this is going to get
Alright,
you.
so,
Now he's only down to his lowest thing, so it's not as
were you
bad as it
overcharging
could
with
be.
the
He only has
Yeah, with both pistols? I overcharged with both pistols.
Ow.
So he takes a nut wound.
Okay, are they in?
So the Space Marines are charging Ahriman.
I can't see it as opposed to any of them.
You'd get in with them.
Alright, I'll get in with that one then.
You are for 1 hour.
Why are you taking an extra guy? There's a guy in there.
Blue dude doesn't go with green dude.
Blue dude goes with green dude because he's a sergeant.
I have to do it now or after you turn?
Starting fight phase.
That's
That's
the end of the charge phase.
And okay. These guys will charge again. All 4 of those guys.
Yeah, one guy
The
died.
other intercessors, not the librarian.
Yeah.
All right. Are you in?
I have 5 units there. The usual would have looking for trees.
It also makes that sound like happened.
Oh, okay. Like one of those little whistles that you... Just light up just for that one.
I have 2 at no AP.
2? All right. Calgar's gonna get everybody.
Now you've broken the intervene if he's done charging.
So it looks like the Space Marines are going to get some successful charges, but those Demon Princes are all going to heroically intervene, I am sure.
Control 3. Yeah, you would, which is more.
Okay.
Oh, well, we should take the point for the middleman, which is...
You do have that. I gave it.
Room to go anywhere unless he gets like well or something.
Okay.
Alright, it's our turn.
So we're going to check in on the other table and see how Swarmlord and Gazgul are doing. Looks like they have made it into combat.
Stormlord has taken nothing.
Yes, took 4.
So Gazgul took 4 wounds off of the Swarmlord, so
melee is pretty good.
it's still,
Makes you feel better.
one of those epic fight for the ages kinds of
They
things.
just got to fire their first shot.
Oh! No, we had to deal with the Titan boys.
Want to vote my lieutenant?
But it looks like the Tau and the Orcs are actually doing a pretty good job over here. There's not a whole lot left for the Tyranids and the Iron Hands, but
Stormlord is going to stand firm.
He's got a 5-up pinball still. He's got the guy right next to him.
What are all stealth suits going to be charging?
Those 2.
Okay, yeah.
And then the shield drone. Oh no, what's the spacing with these guys?
Yeah, they can see it.
They're numbered.
Move anywhere.
Oh, they're all the same number. Okay.
They're not all the same number.
Well, I mean the squad. I thought they were all individually numbered.
1, 1, 1.
Let me do that. I'll get him in.
Can you advance? Where are you coming back?
I mean, fuck it, he's gonna die anyway. Just see if he goes out in a blaze of glory.
So your...
Okay.
Okay, then he's going to definitely...
Fuck it.
so it looks like the
Definitely.
couple of his Space Marine characters are going to try to charge those shield drones, and
About all.
I can't see, so...
I shall just do it naturally.
It's up to you.
So the commanders are
I'm
going to
not
fire
gonna ask Mikey because
Overwatch.
he can't fucking see. Literally. So, what are you guys talking about? Are there
Roll a
models over
d6 if
there?
it's high, you get can you go for it?
So it looks like 2 commanders are going to get to fire Overwatch for 3 commanders are going to get to fire Overwatch for his wheel. So these Space Marines may very well die in the
just
charge.
one Space
Oh,
Marine.
single Space Marine is going to try to
One
charge.
lieutenant.
Oh, look at those 6s though.
He is Farsight Enclave, so he is looking for 6s rather than 5s because he's not
But the
Tau.
rerolls.
But he does get to reroll.
So
2s.
yeah.
4.
Woo! AP 3. 5
So-
up pinball. He takes 2 of them.
So he takes 2 wounds for
Until he brings back command.
for 3 damage.
He's got like 1 left or something like that.
Next, Commander.
Shit.
Next,
So I
Commander.
got another commander. Oh.
I've done my stuff.
Oh.
Oh. 2s are rolling.
Got him.
I think he's dead regardless. I think he's only got 4 total.
Because he's just a dinky little normal lieutenant.
He was. He was. Yep, 4 was.
So the lieutenant dies in Overwatch.
He made a test. Apothecary literally can't do anything. He has to stand in the open because he failed to bring the guy back. After he already goes. First time. You didn't charge him? Yep. He advanced.
So it looks like Mikey's Demon Princes are going to heroically intervene. So he and so is Armand.
Keeping him back because they have a reroll against
I don't, because I was lieutenant.
I just killed him.
Yeah, okay.
But don't take him in with
Well, I mean, like, that's the only way. I guess I could get
Come on, fight me, coward.
Actually, you could take.
I
take
tried
him
that,
in
didn't
for
work.
stuff there.
Fight me, coward.
to get Manius.
I can deal 1 more
Fight me,
wound
coward.
space.
Alright.
I'm gonna smite him again.
So I'll probably just fight with
He
Marnie.
goes off and just adds 1 more wound.
So Marnius Calgar is going to be the first combat here.
All the squads charge everybody but Armand.
Okay, we can kill him this turn.
And there's no point rolling any more smites because they all got one
If you're, say, friendly, not at, if it just says friendly or allied, yes. If it says,
Ain't nobody friendly or allied.
yeah, because usually the psychic powers say friendly, keyword,
Some attacks in the head, being on 2 unless you got something minus.
if it just says allied, you can.
Yeah, because there's another minus in the
That's what I did last time where I had like 65 warriors going up in the counterfactors.
That was great.
What's your
What's your, you have the countercharge, the counterfactors, strength on your
guy versus his
toughness of you said?
Right now I'm still higher,
Or 3's
but once he brackets, it'll drop.
But his toughness doesn't.
No, mine fell out.
Mike goes up.
Oh yeah, does it really?
As the more wounded he gets, the stronger he gets, the more attacks he gets.
Wonderful.
So Calgar does nothing with his attacks, and Mikey is going to.
Like 5 attacks, now he has a strength 6.
So
Yes.
Or you can interrupt here.
He has the opposite of bracket. He has an increase.
Yeah, but your toughness doesn't.
The guy with the red die.
He's got the 4 left.
Yes.
He's
Right there.
so his red demon prince is going to interrupt
Go ahead.
and fight.
Yeah, because it can't be cast on me. Want to command point it?
Yeah, I should.
Alright, strength. And it goes up. Okay, so this guy has a. You're rolling everything.
I'm going to cast Catalyst. Yeah, if it goes off this time.
So 3.
What's that do? 5 of feel no pain.
2 damage.
So, hopefully he'll live. And then,
Looks like he gets 5.
the horror!
So it looks like he's got 3 dead Space Marines.
Oh, the horror!
Alright. I will now.
-1 to hit.
I'll have all these intercessors.
Anyone I pick.
So that is going.
That's why I have
That's
cards.
going to be 12 regular punches. 12 regular punches. And then it's going to be
Because
4
hopefully
power.
it'll help charge me and kill him, so like,
Wait, how's it 4 pounds?
Sorry, what? Because
charge him and maybe kill him.
I mean, you have he's got 3
There's
lane
4
charge.
left.
You think he's going to kill you before?
We get to attack first, yes, but he has a 4 up armor save, which is
Alright, so
50-50.
hang on, freeze.
There's a 2 up armor save. He has a 4 up influence.
I only care about the influence, it's minus 1.
Toughness 4 on the source.
Doesn't already range, so if you charge him, I
No
can
reroll.
watch him.
So that is going to be 6 at no AP.
Well, yeah, but
I'm not an assault.
Six threes.
okay, well,
So he gets 6,
Alright,
and he
4
takes
power
2
fist.
wounds.
Hitting on 4s, reroll it.
Now here's the power fist. These are the bigger attacks.
1 miss. Wounding on 2s. Jesus Christ. 1.
So only one power fist goes through.
But no, but 6 up save because it's
That's minus 3, yes. That's 3. That's 1.
Okay, save one more.
So only one wound from the power fist.
Yeah, whatever.
Here we go.
And then the other 2 guys, we'll just roll their attacks. How many wounds does he have?
Oh,
the little guy.
The master of execution.
Something I can
4
actually
or 5.
count.
Let's think it might be 5. No, 4.
Yeah, I'll throw it into him. So that's going to be 3 punches and 4 power fists into him. Rolling. These are the regular punches.
We may be getting through these.
On 4s. 1 wound, no AP.
So 3 up.
Alright, power fist. Hitting on 4s, we're rolling.
Uh-oh.
Hit. Wounds on 2s. 3 wounds and 3 minus.
So 3 power fist wounds.
No.
There you go.
A6, so
I did a thing!
So Mikey loses his executioner.
He's smart. He thinks he's
You get to fight with everything else.
Alright, so other demon prince, and then these intercessors.
first one deals 2
Same
damage.
thing. 7
2 damage.
attacks.
You guys don't have recon anymore.
You're going 1.
You guys don't have recon.
I'll hit. Then on 3.
Nope, because we don't have this morning.
Or
Or that.
So
Or
one of these two?
Yeah.
4 minus 2.
4 minus 2 on the intercessors.
Actually, 1 more for charging.
Oh!
So hit and...
Oh, and 6s deal extra hits, by the way?
That's true. Jesus. Man, I blew feels. We're still.
3 go down.
So it looks like 3 more Space Marines are dead.
Armon has 5 attacks. Yeah, Armon in the same squad. 5 attacks. Hitting on 2s, rolling 1.
Nice. 6s explode.
Oh yeah, was that 1?
You got like 2 or 3 or something like that.
2, 1. So this is
No.
rolls. So 20.
So everybody in Red Crusade or Thousand Suns, or is it just like
Every
what's the
case
list?
I think has definitely roll something.
Oh, right. You don't have to
Heretic
command
Starries,
anymore.
not just Chaos Space Marines.
Well, yeah. And then it is.
Yeah, are there 2 different keywords for that?
So he's
Heretic
strength 6.
Starries and
So
Chaos
wooden on
Space Marines?
3s.
Yes.
Miss. So 4 minus.
Because Heretic Starries covers all of Chaos. Chaos Space
Four
Marines
minus one.
covers Chaos Space Marines.
Okay. 4 minus 1 on the intercessors? Yep. 2 go through.
3 pieces.
Okay, that's one.
So the last of his Space Marines in that squad are
The
dead.
last guy I have to fight is the sorcerer. He'll have 4 attacks.
Oh, okay.
Actually, not rerolling anything. Hit
Explosions?
all.
Yes, 2
And
6s.
then. Oh yeah. Jesus, you just tried to. So.
2 more hits? Oh, no, sorry.
He's up 3, he's up 3.
Okay, so moves on 3.
The guys who think hard don't fight
And
hard.
then 4 at minus.
He's a ghost war up in goal, I think. Marnius has 4 up, yeah.
Oh,
2 go through.
T3. For 1.
1, and then there's the other one.
Oh, it's on Marnius.
Yeah.
And for 1.
I don't even get to use my armor of Antiochus. It goes 1 each instead of 2 on one of them. Alright, he takes 2 wounds down to 6.
so you want to hear the funny thing?
Marius Calgar takes
Is
2
you don't get to
wounds.
fall back here because you don't need to, it doesn't matter during combat or not to cast spells.
Alright, I'm going to spend the last 3 command points to make him fight again, see if I can punch a sorcerer in the face.
So they're spending the last of their command points to try to fight again with Marnius Calgar.
He's trying to get the points of which bill.
I know. Alright, so this is going to be 7 attacks again, hitting on 2s, rolling. Winning on 2s, no rerolls. Thanks, Calgar. 4 minus 3.
6s.
So looks like his sorcerer does get punched in the face by Calgar's power fists.
Man, my sorcerer didn't do his thing.
I mean, we already got Kilmore, so...
All right. Yeah, that's it.
So that was the top of 2. So now we're moving, so now we're moving into the bottom of 3, rather. Sorry, that was the top of 3. This is the bottom of 3.
You know, I got a feeling after this game we are going to be in the bottom 3.
Explode!
Back to your,
Oh no!
it did not explode.
I'll let you take care of it.
That's one of our marks.
I'm glad I shot that guy first. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we have just under an hour remaining in the round. So.
Hey, was right. Andre's gonna have about an hour left.
No, you should kill that in the second phase.
Finish me off, cow.
Right, so smites are going to be irrelevant.
You've
Unless
got
you want to fall
wings, just
back.
fall back.
If you want to fall back, that's fine, because I can shift commanders over.
So what do you have to shoot back there?
2 dudes. So, what I can shoot back there is I can leave one commander to kill a dude, and then shoot here, and then if he lives, charge and deal more wounds on the charge.
Which Farsight Enclave like Farsight?
Like Commander Farsight?
And you can say that's the Farsight. All the Farsight Enclaves give me glasses.
Your monster, 1. But it's not open, so you can. But it's ruined, so you can't see out the glass.
Not going the room. It's a party. You gotta hold this raid.
Yeah, I'll just come. Just go that way.
That's good. You could just charge it.
Can't go back.
Where's here? So you gotta strap for that or something.
So the Demon Princes are falling out of combat because it looks like they want to be able to smite and cast some psychic powers on that knight.
They want to think big.
Okay, so this one needs to stay in this corner. So we can get the last one this turn. You can spend 3 CP to take 1 of these units. And jump back there for the one there.
Well, I mean, you're gonna get full recon anyways, regardless.
Yeah, but that's so I can take him and come over here rather than having to take him.
You got 2 shield jump squads.
Right, but I mean to come over here to get this one.
Oh, got it. I mean, what I'm saying though is you can just get 1 point per the rest of the round. So there's 6 rounds.
Okay. Sure, or I can max out now and not have to worry about it later.
Actually, only one of my guys is still in combat. So we chose it. I know exactly have board control, right?
Neither do I.
Me neither.
I've got 3 characters and 2 interceptors left. Yes.
So you can use that.
No. And then, you can fire okay. He's going to throw the big onslaught and the person there, and then everything else. So we'll do the little leg first, silence there, that first. We did it. Got the message there. Okay. And then, just 2 top of there. Minus 4. Sure, rather than moving this one. Like conga line.
Well, so I was in a position here, but my hand is like too big for the runes.
Yeah.
And this unit would have just moved
The
over.
unit in the corner is moving out. now, that's them. And then right behind him's moving where they were.
Right.
So might as well just move the
So it looks like the Tau Breachers are moving out of the building to go shoot up some Space Marines.
See, you've got a party in that building and a party in that building.
What'd you call these guys?
Aren't those Breachers?
Yeah, they're definitely breaches, but I heard something else.
Yeah. So, looks like the tower surrounding the last of the Space Marines. As Chaos, looks like they're going to try to go Chaos on Chaos to take out the last Knight. With some Tau backup if needed. The Knight still has 18 wounds remaining, so it's not an easy target, but there's an awful lot of psychic powers that can still go off. Although a couple Psychers did die, so the one Psyker did die, so...
Was he the important one? The unimportant one. Yes, I did it.
No one of these guys up. Hey guys. Down to 5.
So Mikey is moving another squad of Space Marines to the other side of the board. That mixed with Andre's drones. They are trying to, well, they will get their recon and they will get bonus. And yeah, so they're just maxing out points here.
For maneuver, the same unit can get multiple different things, right? Can't get the same stuff for like multiple kill objectives, right?
Oh, love the target on both men, that's right.
So now we're moving into the all-important psychic phase.
I mean, so then I'll just do smite. Alright. Smite. I want to take the big guy. Goes up with an 8. Is your Librarian still on? Hey, it sure is.
So
Nice one.
Okay, so D3. For 1.
So one mortal wound to the Knight from Smite.
Moving on to the Warlord. I'm going to use Cavalry Ritual.
The red guy?
Yeah. Start off with 9. Start off with Smite again. Goes off on 4. Or goes off on a 5. Goes plus 3. 4 and 10. Every roll. So I get super high. 14. That's a D6.
Wait, is he closer to the guy or my intercessors?
Oh, for sure.
Okay, they're dead then.
So 4 mortal wounds to the intercessors with Smite. So the last of them are dead.
No, I'm the one who told you about it.
No good shit.
But he's not sorry. Bodyguard.
He's dead now. Okay, then I'll do Astral Blast. Onto this big guy. Target him. Goes up on a 5. That's a good guy.
The warlord?
Yep. Up on 11.
Is that his last power?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Okay. So it's going to be D3 plus 1. So that's for 3. 9! And now Armand, who's taking this in. He's going to get Smite on the big guy. 5. 9. 6.
How many other powers does Armand have?
2 more.
Yeah. 24. Yeah, second code. I want to see if I can get that bonus to 9. But there's only the big guys in range. How much was it?
And he rolled like a 13, 14. It's like,
Yeah. How much? 6? Yeah, fuck it. Then I load back. Then I
and maybe
I denied it. That's 10.
we're going to use Beach's Firestorm.
So he does manage to deny one psychic power.
Up on a 7 plus 1.
It's a good thing I used it then.
So this is Each's Firestorm. 6s are cause mortal wounds.
Or 1 again. 1. You got 5. 6.
So Each's Firestorm peters out again. He gets no mortal wounds.
9 plus 1. Fails. Spend command points. Cast 1 more on my units. Total gateway. And all this bullshit. Goes up on 8 plus 1. 4 and 5. I'm going to roll the 2s and my reroll on that side of the bed.
So 7 will not hurt you.
So that's the end of the psychic phase there. So some intercessors and a couple mortal wounds to the knight.
I'll shoot at it. But I'll take both these units and shoot at the shoulder.
So now we're moving into the shooting phase. So Tower going to shoot at Calgar.
They're shooting the Marty is ready. I think you'll find that way in home. Feel like that.
So we got 20 shots from the breachers.
And this is
So 10 wounds.
6-inch profile. They're -3 for the 6-inch profile? Alright, so we're -2. I don't know either way to pull up. Doesn't have it because they're all individual.
So it takes 4 wounds to Calgar from the breachers.
Yeah, but it's not like it's combined wounds that is knocked down. It's for each one. I could charge him with drones and then just spend 2 game points to kill the 4 wounds. Oh, there you go. That's a great idea. He'll shoot there.
So now the commander is shooting at the knight. The commander on the right L.
No, just suicide.
So it looks like 4 wounds
Don't do anything special, right?
to the knight. So he's going to take him on his invul. He does take 1 for 6 damage. So that knight is down to 8 wounds. That softens him up for Mikey to go in with his Demon Prince. So I think we've still got a couple Space Marines alive, or Space Marine. Looks like that Apothecary is going to get shot up by a couple of commanders. So the Apothecary dies. 12 wounds to the Apothecary, so he just gets nuked. And now the Librarian that's up there on the roof, getting shot. So it looks like the Librarian takes a bunch of damage and is gone. So it sounds like Marnius is the last Space Marine standing.
Suicide drones. Suicide drones.
So
Charge right now?
So they're going to shoot Marnius.
There's no point. Even if I overcharge, no point.
So 7 wounds to Marnius, and he dies. So the Ultramarines are off the table. Now a single knight remains with 8 wounds. Armand shooting his pistol at the knight, and he hits it. With just a bolt pistol. Oh my gosh! Armand's bolt pistol wounds the knight, and he saves it.
I mean, that would have been hilarious. That would have been great.
Alright, now he's being charged. Knight's shooting his heavy flamers from the Gatling cannons. So he does manage to deal a couple of wounds to the Demon Prince. Looks like he gets 3 wounds in Overwatch. So he takes 4 damage from the Gatling cannons in Overwatch. It's a 3-inch charge, which is enough to make it in. So Armand's going to try to charge, and he's a 6-inch. So he gets a 7, so he makes the charge. The Demon Prince does 4 wounds. And takes 6. That takes him down to 1 wound, right? Oh no, it takes him down to 2 wounds. So now Armand is going to try to finish him off. We got about 30 minutes remaining in the round. So he doesn't manage to finish off the knight, so the knight is going to get to stomp him back.
And then just bring Farsight to file him. Panic thrown up,
So he's stomping the Demon Prince with part of his attacks. Now he's stomping on Armand. He only managed to do a couple wounds, or one wound to the demon prince. He does 4 wounds to Armand, so let's see how many he can save. So 3 damage to Armand. I don't know if Chaos has any CP to fight again, but it looks like that knight does survive the round. So, we'll go ahead and tally points for the end of the round there. That's Andre's job, usually. So it looks like 20 to 9. And moving into turn 4. And it looks like they're calling it. So it looks like this is going to be the end of the game. So this is the end of round 1. So we will